But the main character gets bit by the snake, and then his monkey friend jumps on the snake and starts punching the crap out of it and, like, poking its eyes. And, like, it's got a big old grin on its face while it's murdering the snake. And even after the snake is basically dead, he's still doing it. And then, like, we see the guy, the main character, kind of, like, dying on the ground from snake venom. And then for some reason it flashes back to the monkey killing the snake again, even though that happened like less than 5 minutes ago.
Hi, Bob.
Hey, Zax.
So we're doing something different today that I'm excited about.
Uh-huh.
What do you know about K-dramas?
I know that they're from South Korea.
Okay, that's
and they're dramas. And okay, now you've reached the limit of my knowledge about K-dramas. Well, I guess that's not true. I also know that they're very popular, and they're getting more popular day by day. But I don't know why. I've never seen one. Yeah, I'm totally new to it.
Okay, and I am not a K-drama expert by any means. But I was pretty deep into it back in the day, and I'd like to get back into it. And I couldn't think of a better thing to do than bring someone else into it.
Okay. How do you know I will like it?
Well, that's why I have created a K-drama starter pack. I'm going to go through some of the basics and explain just the tropes some people love and some people have problems with, and we'll see if it's for you.
Okay.
And to someone watching, if you have been curious about K-dramas, maybe this can help you decide.
Okay, and I'll try to play the devil's avocado here and ask the important questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is very good. There you go. So, a little history in my life. My roomie is heavy into the K-drama life, and she actually was a pretty active user in a website, Drama Beans, that I'm pretty sure is still up. We actually went to the launch party for their website remodel.
Oh.
Yeah.
When you were living in California?
Yeah.
Huh.
Uh-huh. And we took like a lift to and from downtown LA, and the owners were there, the people who were like doing the web design and stuff were there. There were party favors and games, and but here's why I know that I'm really onto something with my starter pack. Because going around, pretty much the way you introduced yourself to everybody was like, hi, I'm so-and-so. Oh, hi, I'm so-and-so. What was your first K-drama? And I noticed there was something very important between everyone's first K-drama in this group. Now, granted, obviously, if you probably live in Korea, maybe this probably doesn't apply to you at all. But as a Valley girl who got into K-dramas in that life, this seems to be kind of the norm. Every person's first K-drama that I've talked to has Lee Min-ho in it. He's basically...
Okay, that was not the pattern I was expecting.
Question?
Why?
He's just been in a lot of them, and a lot of different types of them. So he's kind of like, I don't know, I think he's like the king of K-dramas, but someone else might think he's the prince.
Okay, what if they don't think he's royalty at all? What if there's somebody even more prolific than him?
I don't think so, because why is everybody's first? Because it's like, your first is either Boys Over Flowers, where he's the star, or it's Heirs, where he's the star. He's the star in Goblin. Personal Interest. It's just, I'm pretty sure he was in Pinocchio. Don't fact check me on that, but He might have been in Pinocchio. So, not that that really means anything to anybody, but your first K-drama probably will have Lee Min-ho in it.
It seems like between 2005 and like 2013, he was like super duper hot. Like he was on everything. Oh, I guess The King, Eternal Monarch is something he's in now. Huh. Maybe he is the K-drama king. He's the king in this.
Won.
All right.
Okay, well, I'll start. So, here's something. You like action.
I don't mind it.
I feel like you're bigger into action.
It's bigger than you, yeah. I'm more into it than you are, but I wouldn't say. I mean, I'm just not that. I'm very hesitant about starting new things, new shows, movies, etc. So like, you know, if it's got an element of action to it, that's great. But that's not like we still have to overcome my hesitation. Let me try using real words. To actually, to do it, to start watching something.
Well, I was thinking you'd be like a spokesperson.
Oh, sorry. Here, let me try that again. Yeah, action! Wow!
Thank you. So I think City Hunter might be the show for you.
Okay.
It's action-packed. It starts with a war flashback. Then tragedy strikes. He's raised by somebody else for a bit, but then is where he works good or evil. Also, he falls in love.
Okay.
Okay, so I didn't get you.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, what's it
That was my
about?
pitch.
You told me a bunch of events, but I don't know what it's about.
Okay, so basically, I really don't want to spoil any of the endings to K-dramas because if you know how it's gonna end up, you don't need to watch it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's like the journey's like you can still enjoy it, but it's just it won't hit the same if you know where it all ends up because a lot of it is the journey, and sometimes like when they subvert expectations, it's just a really important part of your K-drama viewing experience.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So basically his dad was in the war against North Korea, and his dad had a best friend. And he dies, the dad in war.
And that makes you laugh.
No, it's just a really big open. But like, anyway, his adoptive father, the dad's best friend, raises him and takes him under his wing. But they like live in like a village, and he's a kind of a drug lord. But anyway, the show is about him helping his adoptive father get revenge for his father's death.
Uh-huh.
And it's sort of the journey of whether or not getting revenge is worth it.
Okay.
That's the show.
So when it's called City Hunter, he's not hunting cities. He's hunting in a city.
Yes. Also, yeah, and he finds like love along the way with one of the people sort of pivotal to the revenge plan, so that's even more of a conflict.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much love is there? How much romance?
If we go episode by episode, there are 20 episodes. That's one thing too, like pretty much every K-drama is one season. We get it all out.
Mm-hmm.
I would say in an episode, maybe, average episode's like an hour and 10 minutes. So we'd probably get like half an hour of planning, half an hour of romance slash heartwarming shenanigans, and then the rest would be full on action.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
yeah.
it would be better, not to put too much action in it.
Yeah.
Like, even action movies, sometimes you see action movies that are just constant action, and it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, did you ever see the movie Hardcore Henry?
No.
Great movie. Love the movie. But there was almost a little too much action going on in the movie. Because the whole movie's shot from first person. And so, you're seeing Henry, the main character. Well, you're not seeing Henry, but you're seeing from his perspective, and he's doing all kinds of actiony stuff. And it's, they break up the action with sequences of him being chased, basically, and like sitting down and talking to interesting characters. Almost all played by Charlton Copley, which is also an interesting aspect to the movie. It's a great movie. But if they didn't have those, the movie would be unbearably actiony. You would need, like, a break to get through it. So the heist planning is probably a good thing for City Hunter. Never seen it. Still don't know. But... And then, of course, the shenanigans, as you say.
Yeah.
So, who else is in this?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter?
You just come for Lehman. No, I'm kidding. They're all really talented, but I don't know any of their other.
Okay, so it doesn't matter to you.
Not right now, no.
Or later either.
No.
Okay. You neither know nor care who's in it.
Don't poke holes in the starter pack itself.
Okay.
So...
Wait, okay. Are the other two things, you said there were 3 that you have in your starter pack. Do they also feature Lee Min-ho?
Well, I guess technically there are 4 more K-dramas that I'm going to mention.
Okay.
And
so you lied.
2 more of them have Lee Min-ho.
Are those the 2 that are in the core starter pack?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are.
So this should be the Lee Min-ho starter pack.
Well, no, because the next 2 we're going to talk about don't have Lee Min-ho. This is another genre that I personally, which I guess, honestly, I guess this all makes me feel like a fake fan, but it's fine. So the next 2 do not have Lee Min-ho, but they do have some pretty close boys. This is the cross-dressing section of our K-drama.
Huh?
It is a nice story where, for some reason, a girl needs to live among boys, she has to Mulan it.
Okay.
And my favorite K-drama of all time is You're Beautiful, and that stars Park Shin-hee as Go Min-nam, the girl who needs to be her brother to blend into his band while he recovers from botched eyelid surgery.
Okay, so...
And...
Hold on. So, so this is like a subgenre of K-dramas where it's like... Is that what you're saying? Okay, so there's like this common trope of the girl pretending to be a guy. Are there ones where it's a guy pretending to be a girl?
Not that I've seen.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like pretty common. There are so many different types. There's like feudal era, best friends growing up together. A lot of slice of life, but they always have like some really like lovely aspect to them. And of course like action stuff. But in the cross-dressing genre, My favorite is You're Beautiful, starring Park Shin-hye, who, at least in my books, I think is the queen of K-dramas because she's in You're Beautiful, she's in Heirs, which also has Lee Min-ho. It's the two of them together.
So we're gonna
So
over the course of this video, we're going to establish like a whole royal government. I assume, like, you're gonna tell me who the Minister of Defense is of K-dramas.
Well, you know what? If you want to, we can. The Minister of Defense can be Jang Suk, who is the male lead in You're Beautiful.
Okay.
So it all comes together. Get your Always Sunny crime boards up, people.
How about let's say the Shadow Minister of the Environment?
Well, that could be the star of To the Beautiful You, the other cross-dressing drama that I want to talk about with.
I'm just trying to challenge you, and you're just ready for these.
Back to You're Beautiful. It has the cross-dressing element. That's over all of it. Another thing, this is something that this happens in a lot of media. I just first noticed it in K-dramas. How to put this? They flash back to things that just happened a lot.
Oh.
Like, a lot of dramas do this. A lot of shows do this. And it's weird because, yes, technically, dramatic scene just happened. Character goes to a balcony with their arms over it, looking up at the sky or down at the ground. And, like, yes, very clearly that is what they are thinking about. What just happened.
Uh-huh.
But I don't necessarily need to see it.
Okay.
But it'll start happening from the first episode. But the reason that it's kind of a payoff is because as the show goes, it's not like the montages stop. Instead, we just keep building onto the montage. Like, in You're Beautiful, there's this scene where Jang Suk turns around and he is the jerk male lead, which is also very common in pretty much all of
male
them.
lead?
Yeah, he's just a jerk. He's the biggest jerk.
Okay.
So that's a common trope. So Jang Suk is usually the jerk male lead. But
why did you make that noise? What was that noise?
It was like, I'm mean.
Oh, okay.
That's just what he does.
Okay.
So I think it was like a pretty big like meme in like the K-drama community, just a picture of the scowl that he was rocking for that movie. Like, he pursed his lips like a lot, like duck face backs.
Uh-huh.
So, anyway, Gominam, Park Shin-hye, girl boy, for the moment, did him a solid, and he was happy, and he turned around and he gave her a big old smile that blew everyone away. So every episode, they included that in the montage, and it just got more rewarding as we went along. So, the flashbacks, I think, are a blessing and a curse.
Okay. So they put these flashbacks in.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Do
they think we don't remember?
I think it's fan servicey. But it's just a little too much for me personally.
Okay.
But they must know that you remember.
So they've got these flashbacks, and do you think it's like a thing where they started doing it at some point and then it just kind of like it was popular in one show, so a bunch of other shows copied them? Or is it like one of those things where it's more of like a cultural thing? I don't know how to describe my question, I guess.
I don't exactly know what you're asking, but I think I kind of get it. And I wouldn't say, because, like, yeah, obviously I don't know the culture. And definitely just seems to be like just how they do things there for sure. But at the same time, I have seen like Western movies do the same thing, where they flash back to things that just happened. So
because I find it's really infuriating in Western movies when they've got a flashback to something that happened like moments ago. But actually, now that I think about it, there's a Korean movie that we saw on the Steel Donut called Thunder Prince. It's an anime, or I guess a Korean
okay.
And in it, there's a whole sequence where a monkey kills a snake in a particularly brutal way. It's genuinely uncomfortable to watch because, like, the monkey takes such glee in just murdering the snake that was... I mean, like, let's be real. If you're wandering around in the wilderness and a snake bites you, it's probably your fault.
Right.
Because the snake lives there.
Yeah.
You're just some jerk who walked around a forest. So, like, you shouldn't kill the snake. You should leave it alone. But the main character gets bit by the snake, and then his monkey friend jumps on the snake and starts punching the crap out of it and, like, poking its eyes. And, like, it's got a big old grin on its face while it's murdering the snake. And even after the snake is basically dead, he's still doing it. And then, like, we see the guy, the main character, kind of, like, dying on the ground from snake venom. And then, for some reason, it flashes back to the monkey killing the snake again, even though that happened, like, less than 5 minutes ago. And we see all the same footage, but now it's got this glossy blur over the whole thing. And it's like... why is this happening? I was horrified the first time, but, like, maybe that's more of a cultural thing. You know, maybe it's just, like, more common in Korean television and movies to have flashbacks like that. Because, like, in American movies, you don't... like, flashbacks just don't happen in American movies nearly as much as you would think.
Flashbacks, I think, are more, like, television.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of times it's, like, one thing, though, I was watching a Chinese movie with my friend the other day that was really good. 10 out of 10 recommend. It's called Somewhere Only We Know. And it's subtitled. So there's, I mean, maybe there's a dub, I don't know. But we watched the subtitled version on Viki. And they do flashbacks in this movie, but it's stuff that we didn't see.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like, they're reminiscing about, like, the good times or something, and it's stuff like it's an experience like we didn't already see. It's something new, but it is technically a flashback. So I like those better.
Yeah.
But, like, by the end of the series in a K-drama, you've been through so much, it's kind of nice to just sort of take everything in again, and you do get everything all over again real quick before it's over. So, there's that. And the bigger issue, it's not issue, with You're Beautiful, and this is pretty much every K-drama, the love triangle.
Okay.
They all have it. And you always have the jerk male lead, and then you have the second male lead who very clearly has no shot. At all. Okay. But we're going to keep putting him here, and we're going to keep getting his hopes up for no reason. And then what usually happens, which is, okay, not usually, I won't say usually, but it is funny because it felt like I was talking with another friend of mine when we finished watching You're Beautiful, and we didn't necessarily watch any of these in order, obviously, because they're all available at the same time. But after we watch... But by the end of You're Beautiful, we were just so disappointed that Shinwoo had no chance. Like, literally, this boy stalked her from location to location, giving her this dream date. But that was kind of, it was really cute watching the show, but thinking back on it on paper, maybe it's kind of a good thing he didn't win.
Okay.
But definitely... last chance, if you're going to actually watch any of the shows I'm talking about right here, skip to the time stamp that I put up. Okay.
Last chance. 3, 2, 1. Okay, spoilers.
Okay. Gominam is dressing up as a boy in the band. But she has some business to take care of, so she has to go back to being. No, she wasn't. Anyway, she just
Are
finds
you
this
arguing with
package.
yourself right now? What's happening?
I just remembered. I'm just trying to get this right.
Okay.
What?
I don't know. I just remembered. Sounds odd.
Is that a grammar check right now?
I don't know. I mean, I guess if you remembered something, does that mean you can remember something? Like, whoa.
Anyway, so she finds like this package. It has like a wig, shoes, and a dress, and a little note. It's like a cute little scavenger hunt. It's like, okay, go to this ice cream shop, or no, go to this restaurant. And so she goes to the restaurant in her cute little outfit, and a waiter just comes and is like, "This was ordered for you," and she's like, "Oh, yummy soup," and she just eats it, and she's like, "Wow, this is nice. Thank you."
That's a great way to get poisoned.
So then, after that, there's another note.
Can you imagine being an assassin hired to kill somebody, and your whole plan involves sending them food, and they just immediately down it without question and just die?
At that point,
It's like, was the job difficult? No.
Is that even your fault at that point?
That just seems like a great way to kill someone who's not very thoughtful.
So, but while she's eating this food, she calls Shinwoo, and she's like, "A crazy thing just happened. You'll never believe where I am."
I just
He's
got
like,
poisoned.
okay. So then we see that he's not far behind, and he's just watching her eat the soup. Next location, she goes to get some ice cream, and then she calls him again. And then then the third thing is he's standing like kind of behind her, but there's a crowd in between. And he's like, "Okay, now turn around." And she starts to turn around, but then jerk male lead, Jang Suk, shows up and whisks her away.
Okay.
But for all three of those stops, Shinwoo was just watching her eat food without her knowing he was there or that he was involved. That was a surprise. She didn't know who was responsible for these gifts.
All right.
Okay, so he doesn't get the girl.
Okay.
And then, quick mention to the beautiful you. It stars Sully from Girls' Generation and Choi Min-ho from SHINee. And I don't know if any of you guys are like any K-pop stans. I don't really know a lot of K-pop, but I do know SHINee's song Hello, and I was like, wow, that was really catchy. So I recommend it. Last, we can talk about, I think this one I've definitely heard more people say is their first K-drama, which is Boys Over Flowers. Mm-hmm. And you're a little familiar with this because I did show you a Chinese adaptation.
Was that? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was a Chinese adaptation, mostly because I'm a dumb American who can't identify languages.
You're forgiven.
Okay, thanks.
Good. So, you know that, but just a quick rundown. Poor girl goes to an elite school that favors the four richest boys in school. Although the Chinese adaptation takes place in college, Boys Over Flowers starts in high school.
Uh-huh.
And that they're so wealthy that they basically and the first episode, again, spoiler warning, they bring her out and then she's like, "What do you want?" And they egg her and flour her. And the whole school is cool with it.
You mean flour like the cooking ingredient, not flour
Yeah.
as in the title. Okay.
And so, okay.
I mean, that
so
seems like a totally normal thing to do to another person.
Yeah. You know. But then it just, so Lee Min-ho in this, he plays Gu Jin-pyo, and he is like a CEO's son. He's heir to like all the groups, and they own like so many companies. He's like a super billionaire, and he's super handsome, and he's a super jerk. So she wants nothing to do with him.
She ends up with him, doesn't she?
I'll never tell.
Okay. All right.
But there is still a love triangle because, of course, there is. But this is interesting because it's kind of a bait and switch because. And Ji-hoo is Lee Min-ho's best friend. They grew up. They all four boys grew up together. And he meets a girl that his best friend has been bullying for no reason. But he's like the aloof, quiet type. So, like, at one point, spoiler alert, quickly, she's getting like assaulted and he's like saving her. She's like getting taunted by 3 guys and she's in a real tough spot, and she's like, hey, help. And then he comes over and he's like, hey, that pancake recipe you gave me, it didn't work. I want to go over what I did wrong. And she's like, kind of in trouble here. And he's like, just tell me, do I need to like do this thing before that thing? She's like, no, you need to do it after. He's like, oh, okay. And then he beats up the guys.
Cool.
And gets them out of here.
Okay.
Anyway, it basically is gearing up for her to fall for him.
All right.
In that she does. But then things change, and now she's dating Lee Min-ho. Because of course she is.
Huh.
Also, it's a reverse harem, which is pretty common too.
Okay.
Also, we gotta talk about let's like close out with the biggie. This is something that I've never talked to anybody who's been a fan of this on paper. Like, some people are like, I know that the show's making it romantic, but I don't feel it.
Okay.
We need to talk about the wrist grab that happens in every K-drama I've seen multiple times throughout the show.
Okay.
So boy and girl will be yelling at each other. I'll use an example from Boys Over Flowers. Lee Min-ho tells Goonjan-di, I am taking you out, woman. And she's like, no, I'm busy. I have to go to work. He's like, I already called in for you and your mother's approved. You're coming. She's like, no. And he grabs her wrist and throws her in his limo.
Romantic.
But he's taking her to Hawaii.
That's not better.
He planned a moonlit dinner.
That's not better.
He got sad when she was interested in the male lead who didn't grab her wrist.
That's still not better.
Okay. So.
What?
It's a thing that happens, and that part of the starter pack is I don't want to leave anyone surprised. So, quick recap, if you want just a gushy girl with a bunch of cute boys all over the place, then you should definitely watch a cross-dressing one. Like I said, I recommend You're Beautiful, but there were definitely more boys into The Beautiful You because that was a boarding school, and You're Beautiful is just a boy band. So that was like you get 3 boys, and the other one you get a bunch of boys.
A bunch.
A barrel of boys.
Yeah, you gotta love the barrel of boys. That is traditionally the unit of collective boys. You know, school of fish, barrel of boys.
Okay. I'm sorry. Back to business. But then, well, but if that's not your style and you want some action, then you should definitely check out City Hunter. My roomie and I watched this with our other friend, and he was in it. Like, it started off with him coming over one day. I was just watching. He's like, "What's this?" And he got in it, and then we kept watching. He kept coming back, like, during the course of me watching the show to keep in on the loop. But then when we got to the end, he was very disappointed.
Oh.
And me and my roomie loved it. We were in it the whole way. We felt like that was great. So I guess I'm just kind of curious about other people's thoughts on the ending, because I thought it went exactly where it needed to go. He was very disappointed.
Huh. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, quick thing. Next time we have a little dip into this town. Well, let me say that differently. Next time that we talk about South Korean media, what do you say we dish about flowering hearts?
Oh, Christ. Yeah, we could talk about Flowering Heart.
Okay, great. You heard it here first. Come back next time where we talk about Flowering Heart.
We could also talk about... I actually have seen a couple of... while we were talking, I was realizing that I've seen a couple of Korean movies that are worth highlighting.
Yeah.
But
I still haven't seen Old Boy.
Yeah, you haven't seen Old Boy, which you need to see. But there's two 2004, I guess they're both horror films, with the same male lead. That's the reason I found the second one. And I can't find... They both used to be on Netflix, in the United States, and neither of them are on streaming anymore. I guess I could use a VPN to find one of them. But Our Point and Spider Forest. Our Point is, I saw it originally when I was a kid, and so it was, it may not hold up as well, but I remember as a kid I was really taken aback because it's a wartime action horror film, and it's got some really neat, like, things that you notice the second and third time you watch the movie. And I don't want to spoil anything more. And then Spider Forest is like a really mind-bending film with some really creepy visuals. In 2004, those effects must have been really expensive because they did this whole sequence with like a ton of spiders, and either they got like hundreds, possibly thousands of tiny spiders on set, which would be just an awful experience, or they did it with CG. Either way, big props to the creators of the movie. It's a good movie. You can rent Spider Forest on Amazon Prime, so maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll rent that and we can watch it. But it's I've seen a couple of Korean movies, and that's pretty much, like, I haven't really dipped into the k-drama at all. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I was just thinking about things I've seen that are Korean.
Yeah. This isn't an Indian thing, but you brought up horror, and I think we definitely need to pick a kind of friend to tell about
Aviary.
Yeah, you knew exactly where I was going.
Yeah. Oh.
When that little girl runs away.
Oh my gosh, she got so much, like, she's just like, her fashion is popping off when she's running away.
Oh Oh my goodness. Please leave a comment about what person in the Kind of Friends universe we should explain that movie to. Anyway, thank you for doing this video with me. It's definitely different than anything we've really done before. So it went good, I think. Hopefully someone's curious about K-dramas now. And
I know I am.
yay! That was the real plan all along. I don't know. Anyway, so thank you for joining me, and thank you guys for listening. And remember to comment, like, and subscribe, because we all need friends.